what's up there? So wanted to start recording some of these videos for you that kind of just let you know what's going on with somebody running two 8-figure businesses. So I have two main companies that I'm involved in. One is Amazing or Amazing.com. The other one is an e-commerce business that I'll tell you more about in a second. But I kind of want to let you know what it's actually like running these kind of businesses. So if you like this kind of video, let me know. And it'll make sure that I keep doing more of these. But we'll talk more about that in a second. So, well, I want to let you know a couple things. First off, as far as today, one of the things I was excited about was I got my shipment here. Right here, you can see this site. It's upside down, but it says Crown and Caliber. And so I actually got my first fancy watch, which you can see closer there. It's a Tag Heuer, I believe is how you pronounce it. But either way, I had some friends that had some of these, and I thought it was pretty cool. It wasn't crazy expensive, but I've never really bought a nice watch before. But I'm also kind of frugal, and so I got it from this site, crownandcaliber.com, and it was actually 50% off versus what you would normally pay full price. So then in case I didn't like it, didn't want to wear it, didn't have to get it, but right now, super pumped. So yeah, that was one of the first things I did because I just got back from an RV trip. But yeah, as far as today, Tuesdays for me normally are I'm checking stats. I've got a couple important meetings. So today was actually, and I'll pop back over here on the screen. So in this e-commerce business, you'll notice right here, this is yesterday's sales. So this is yesterday, let me see, October 19th. And so I typically check this almost every morning. And so this is for the e-commerce brand that I'm involved in. I'm actually co-owners with my business partner, Charles Livingston, on this. And so yesterday we did about $52,000 in sales, which is pretty good for us because if you take that over the course of a month, that's about $1.5 million, which is about where we're at now with this business. We're trying to get this thing up to $2 million a month. That's kind of the target that we've set. The goal is probably to eventually sell this. And so we're talking with some investment banks, that kind of thing. And that's about the target we need to be at. So a few things I want to show you here. First off, recurring billing. So for yesterday, over 20 grand in recurring billing sales. We've been building this up as much as possible. We'll sell single units of the product, and then we try to convert those people into subscription sales. And online store is a little bit misleading because this plus Zipify, these are two different checkout systems, but they're basically the same thing. They're just people buying stuff. And the only difference is the ones that run through Zipify, we're able to put one-click upsells in front of them, but the online store, we're not able to do that. So this is more sort of ad-driven sales, and these are more organic sales, people just buying stuff on the website, from email promotions, that kind of thing. Online store sessions, so these are up, that's awesome. Returning customer rate, so yesterday was a big subscription day, so 75% of these sales are from existing customers, not new people. Average order value, we've really been trying to bump that up. So we're almost at $70. We were as low as around $60. So we've been adding upsells, doing in-cart order bumps and that kind of thing to get that ramped up. Total orders was actually down. I think this is comparing it to the day before. So compared to October 19th or October 18th, total orders down a little bit. Online store conversion rate, this is pretty much never correct because a lot of our sales run through Zipify. And there's a lot of different sort of tracking things going on. So we pretty much can't use this store conversion rate. We either have to look at our ad account or we have to go check out Google Analytics or something like that. So all in all, great day yesterday for the store. So typically we'll check that out. Other big thing today is we had our weekly marketing meeting for Amazing. And so I found a long time ago that I'm not a huge fan of meetings, but some things you have to do. So some things you have to put regularly on the calendar. Otherwise, things just start falling apart. And one of the big ways that I've grown and built businesses, Amazing, this e-commerce brand, is through marketing. So that's one of my sort of core expertises. And so I make sure that I'm heavily involved in all the marketing stuff for Amazing. And we've got a good sizable team. And so I jump on the marketing meeting with them every Tuesday. And so we review kind of the general agenda as we take a look at our dashboard. How did things perform last week? And so we're tracking sales, we're tracking social media follows, email performance, all the different promotions and products that we're looking at. Overall, how did the marketing team do? Driving sales and also increasing engagement across everywhere. How well are we using our assets? So we do that, and then we review the calendar. Another big important thing that if you're running a business and you don't have a regular marketing calendar that's at least 30 days out, ideally a couple months out, but at least 30 days out, then you're missing opportunities. You want things on your calendar, like we're running this promotion this week. We're going to tap into this holiday. We're about to get into holiday season for everyone. And so things like, what are we doing around Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that sort of stuff, Halloween? How are you leveraging all these holidays and events to give people more reasons to buy stuff? And so we look at that. What other content are we producing and putting out there? Because otherwise you're just going to be doing everything last minute and you're inevitably going to miss out on sales. So we take a look at our dashboard, our calendar. Then we just have kind of an open session. Is there anything we need to talk about that we haven't talked about? So we'll jump into a couple different topics there. Today we didn't necessarily have anything super major that popped up, where everything's kind of running as planned. And then one of our team members, Whitney, she actually recaps the actions. So what is everyone, after all the stuff we talked about, what is everyone actually going to do? So it doesn't just, go to a bunch of discussion and then everyone kind of goes back to doing what they were doing before. We want to make sure that people are accountable. So part of her role is to track all that stuff and make sure to follow up with people, including myself. And so also follows up with me to make sure I'm doing everything I said I would do. So went to the marketing meeting, then pretty much immediately after, another big one, but this is more of a monthly thing, is the finance meeting for Amazing. So any company you're involved in, we do this for the e-commerce business also. This one just happened to be today. And so finance meeting, finance used to be a nightmare. Like, I don't know about you, but at least in the past, it always felt like such a nightmare. Accounting and finance, we had money coming in, but we never knew where it was going, any of that kind of stuff. And so I was beating my head against the wall trying to figure this stuff out for a good couple of years. And I was like, how do you do this without feeling like you're spending your whole time doing this? Even we had a team of 9 people in finance, including a CFO, and tons of other people that were all managing this stuff internally, costing us a ton of money. It was still a nightmare. I talked with a guy who actually ended up giving me some really good advice. He says, look, what you need to do is you need to hire an outsourced CFO. There's lots of companies that'll do this for you. They charge you on an hourly basis. Hire an outsourced CFO to kind of manage and clean everything up, and then just do a monthly finance meeting and maybe a weekly check-in. But really that monthly finance meeting, it may take 3 or 4 hours to go through everything, all your P&L, all your financials, ask all the questions, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be, and then you'll have a much better life. So did that, and that completely changed everything. Now, it took probably about a year of going through that system, and now our finance meeting is less than an hour because we're meeting regularly, everything's cleaned up, everyone's doing their job. And so, but having that monthly finance meeting, absolutely critical. The other big piece that we put in place that we kind of roll into this is a rolling forecast. So we've typically forecasted out 12 months, or at least till the end of the year, of our financials. What do we think we're going to bring in every month? What do we think we're going to spend in terms of cost of goods sold, operating expenses? How much profit do we think we're going to produce? All that sort of stuff we forecast out. And then each month we review, which is a big part of the finance meeting, is how did we do versus how did we think we were going to do? What does our forecast say versus what are the actual numbers? So we review those two pieces of data because it keeps us honest. It doesn't let us, think that, oh, this was a pretty good month, but we're way short of what we thought we were going to do. And so that's another big thing that we do in this meeting. That's kind of the main focus. But yeah, we review typical things like profit and loss statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, all those typical things. So if you're owning a business or gonna own a business and you're not doing that, you're crazy. Definitely want to put that in there. One of the first things you do, whether you're just reviewing it with your accountant or CPA, or you actually have an outsourced CFO, or if it's just you and a business partner, totally cool. So for the e-commerce brand, we keep that thing super lean. It's really just me, Charles, Michelle, who manages customer service, and then we have an outsourced agency, sort of one guy, but he has a team behind him that runs all of our ads. And we have a bunch of other sort of outsourced customer service people, but that's really it. So with a finance meeting, we also have an outsourced CFO for that business that only costs us $1,500 a month or so. But he basically prepares all the financials, and then Charles and I review the stuff ourselves. So that's all that's involved in that finance meeting. So you don't have to have a whole team or anything like that. But the discipline of reviewing every month, what did you think you were going to do versus what you actually did, is absolutely critical. So that was one of the big things we did today. And then part of a rolling forecast part of this whole thing is that you're forecasting out. For us, we do this in a separate meeting, but you're forecasting out, okay, now that we have all this new information, we know what we did last month, we know what we did all the months before, what do we think we're going to do now for the next month or the few months after? So we typically update that so that it doesn't become stale. We're constantly updating our forecast so that we know what's going to be coming down the pipeline, and we can compare that to how we're actually doing so that we can find out, like, hey, we said we're going to do this amount of revenue or this amount of profit for the whole year, but we've either underperformed or overperformed. What do we need to adjust? Part of it the forecast, but part of it the actual stuff that we're doing. What do we need to adjust for the rest of the year to make sure that we actually hit our numbers? Big thing to consider, because when you're running a business, it's that you could basically sell the business, take that money, put it in some investments, and if you can earn a higher return that way, there's no reason for you to be running a business. The business has no purpose. It needs to be earning a higher return than adjusted for risk than you could get in the stock market, for example. So say the stock market historically returns 7.5% after tax. You running a small business that has a lot more risk in it because it's smaller and because it hasn't been around as long as, say, like a massive company that you can invest in like Apple or something, you need to be earning probably 15, 20, 25, 30% returns on the value of that business. Otherwise, your business has no purpose. So you should be able to earn those kind of returns, but that requires you to be honest with yourself, to look at the numbers. I used to be like, the ostrich. I don't know if you've ever seen the picture. I'll see if I can pop it up here, but the ostrich with its head in the sand, that used to be me with the financials, because I didn't want to actually look at the performance because it was just too overwhelming. I didn't know where money was going. It always felt like we were bringing a lot in, but I couldn't really tell where it was going. But now that we have all this dialed in, it feels so much better. It's very predictable. We know what's happening. Sure, there's always ups and downs, but at least we have our hands on and we know exactly what's happening. So you do the same thing. If you're kind of nervous looking at your numbers, that kind of thing, definitely want to get all that sorted out. Incredibly important. At the end of the day, that's how you measure your success in business, is how well are you doing financially. There's a lot of other things, whether you're taking care of customers, all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, all that should funnel into your financials. And so if your financials aren't working well, there's some piece of your business that's broken. Either you're not doing well with customers, you're not selling a good enough product, or you're just spending money blindly and wasting money all over the place. So a lot of different things it can be, but you need to know the score if you're going to win at this game. So those are the main things. And, today got a lot of other things going on, but those are the main things that I've done so far. And so, running these two businesses, it's not like, necessarily have to work, 24 hours a day, that kind of thing. I still work a lot. I work pretty much 7 days a week, depending on what I have going on, because I love it. I love building these businesses, impacting lots of people. It's exciting. It's fun. It's a big source of growth for me. But on a day-to-day basis, it's not really that crazy, because just kind of like brushing your teeth. You can't go with some of these things, planning out your marketing or planning out the finance, and, just sort of not do it for months and then try to make it all up in a short period of time, just like brushing your teeth. You can't be like, well, I'm just not going to brush my teeth for a couple weeks, but I'm going to brush them for 4 hours, one day, and that's just going to make up for it. That's not how it works. With a lot of things, it's just sort of daily maintenance. It's like watering the plants or like brushing your teeth. You're just constantly doing this sort of daily maintenance. And then once you get through that initial hurdle of cleaning everything up, then, it becomes a heck of a lot easier. So hopefully this gives you an idea of what it's like actually running 2 8-figure businesses. And so, I'm actually the CEO of Amazing, and I'm kind of a co-owner, and I run all the marketing and stuff for the e-commerce brand. But just give you an idea of what it looks like. And so I would love to hear what questions you have, what comments you have. So drop them below this video. I'm going to be checking them out. I'll be replying to you. So if you want to learn anything else, if you're liking this video, let me know, all that sort of good stuff. And if you're watching this on YouTube, definitely subscribe to our channel, because I want to post more of this kind of stuff. But by all means, if you do nothing else, just drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. I want to hear from you so that I can keep making these better and better. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.